coming up on the 9. All aboard for our last summer zip trip of the season.
Toot, toot!
Beautiful. Now you're laughing. Let's hear yours.
From a train route through the redwoods to a serene Japanese garden, we're getting back to nature while supporting businesses.
It was really enjoyable. I mean, those trees are something else.
In springtime, there's lots of color. Fall, the changing of the colors.
Plus, a stroll down memory lane for all you 49er fans.
We always talk about the 49er way, and I was lucky enough to be here with a lot of guys that were at the highest level at what they did.
So stay with us because our zip trip to the South Bay starts now.
Even on top of this gorgeous sunshine, we are shining a spotlight on the gorgeous South Bay. Good morning to you from the McHenry Convention Center. The South Bay, of course you think it's the birthplace of tech, home to Silicon Valley, but the history of Santa Clara County is still a big part of its future. Yes, I know you're going to mention Apple. Apple Computer was born here, so too microelements of lasers, disk drives, inkjet printers, but did you know that Silicon Valley is also home to some incredible redwood forests?
Interesting.
And there are places to lose yourself in nature or at the farmer's market like I do all day long. There's a lot you might not know about the South Bay, and we are here to welcome you to it.
So for me, growing up in Novato and San Francisco, I never really came down here. So my first memories of the South Bay were really high school sports, running track at Los Gatos High, playing football against Bellarmine, under the lights at Santa Clara University. My last high school football game was at Archbishop Mitty. Tough loss, by the way. But now you think sports in the South Bay, you got Niners, you have the Earthquakes, you have the Sharks, you have, don't forget, San Jose State University. It's not just Cal and Stanford around here. And as you mentioned, technology. Once were orchards, now Apple, Netflix, and so forth and so on, big and small companies. But also, there's a pretty good looking airport around here, right? Not just San Francisco International. In fact, if you hear a 737 buzzing us, Mineta San Jose is just around the corner here, so every 4 or 5 minutes we get a bird going right over.
Right, so let's go ahead and kick things off here. We mentioned tech, and of course we could not ever forget the Tech Interactive right here in downtown San Jose. Our Sal Castaneda is standing by live to show us inside the Tech Interactive. Also, I mentioned things that you might not know about the South Bay. Did you know there's a Christmas tree farm in Los Gatos, and that is where we find our Frank Malicote this morning.
All right, but we're going to start with Sal, and Sal, you found a pretty cool family-friendly place there.
Yes, we did, Mike and Garcia. Good morning to you. We're inside the San Jose Tech Interactive Museum, and this place is so cool. You can touch and feel, and they've redone this place because it's a tech museum, so they have to stay up with the latest technology, so they keep redoing it. I am joined by Katrina Stevens, the CEO and the president of San Jose Tech Interactive. Good morning to you.
Good morning. So glad to see you.
You know what? This Solve for Earth exhibit that we're in is so cool. Right over your shoulder here, and I'm going to ask Tony to pan over there while you talk about it. Those are Bay Area cities in this Solve for Earth exhibit.
So this part of the exhibit is called Sustainable Cities, and we have 6 cities that are in the Bay Area. And the point is that when you come here, you make decisions about what if we added more canopy, more parks, what if we changed transportation. And you can see the impact that has on the whole Bay Area and on individual cities. It's really cool.
So you're going to have kids coming in, starting with field trips very soon, right? You're going to have, I guess it's October when you're going to open it up for field trips.
That's exactly right. So we've had kids coming in all summer, which has been wonderful to see, to have them back in here. In October, we're going to start having field trips on Thursdays and Fridays, and we've already got teachers signing up. So we are so looking forward to be able to have all the kids back here.
I just thought of a question. One of the things that I just thought of, we're in the middle of the Silicon Valley. Do you feel any pressure, Katrina, to be at the latest in the tech in this museum?
Our museum is actually much more, and the Tech Interactive is much more around helping young people become problem solvers. And so the idea is that our kids will be able to learn how to actually create the next technologies. So it's much more about really teaching them what choices you can do and what kind of skills you can have as kids.
Yeah, well, for a nerd like me, this place is awesome. So one of the things I do want to mention is that you are taking COVID-19 safety protocols very seriously.
We are. We take the safety of our visitors and our staff incredibly seriously. We've been following all of the protocols and have been just very, very careful. Because most of our kids are under 12, we want to make sure, so we require masks, and most of our staff are also vaccinated.
All right, that's Katrina Stevens, the president and CEO of San Jose Tech Interactive. I'm just going to throw it out now. Mike and Garcia both have kids. This is a place you want to bring them because I just walked in, every single thing is cool. I don't even know where to start. So this is a place that you want to come to.
Yeah, I may go solo I think so. I like the experimental labs.
Yeah.
All the design experiments, very exciting. All right, Sal, we'll check in with you in a little bit here.
Now, look, you know that I am all about the nature experience,
Of course.
right? And you know, so you mentioned growing up in the North Bay. I grew up in Livermore. This place, I mean, Felton, I don't even know Felton existed growing
Santa Cruz
up,
Mountains, right?
Santa Cruz
Santa Cruz
Mountains.
Mountains.
We have done this little family fun day a couple of times. Our Frank Malico got to go to Roaring Camp Railroad in Felton. It is beyond a child's wildest dreams. And Frank, you rode a train that a lot of people don't even know exists, but it's right here in the South Bay.
Yeah, it is, Gassia. It even surprised me, I got to be honest with you. My aunt had a place at Seacliff in Aptos. Used to drive by it all the time. Never knew it existed, but it's an old throwback camp to the lumber days of 1880s and the gold rush days. It's beautiful, and it features some steam locomotives that every day take a good 3,000 kids up to the tippy top of Bear Mountain. Now, the ride is fabulous, but I got to tell you, the view's pretty good, too. All aboard the Dixiana, a 108-year-old steam locomotive, straight from Tennessee and West Virginia's Smoky Mountains. It's been carting precious cargo at Felton's Roaring Camp Railroad since 1963. The engineer is 60-year-old Phil Reeder. He, too, straight out of Central Casting.
Like I tell people, you know, they all have a soul. They're a living, breathing machine. They're all different. This little girl here, you know, she's a sweetheart. You know, she'll do just about anything you ask her to do except maybe climb a tree.
Oh, and there's a lot of trees, over 100 acres of beautiful redwoods. Some have been untouched for well over 1,000 years. 3+ mile trek up and down Bear Mountain is a half-hour journey through time under a canopy of Mother Nature's best.
I mean, the redwoods on their own are super majestic, but riding an ancient steam train and the smoke billowing out and just, I mean, it's a trip into the past, and especially for the little ones, it's nothing like anything they've seen before. It's not like an Amtrak train. This is like a true deal Old West experience.
Campers are greeted with a train whistle in a town that is circa 1880. From the general store to the train station, it quickly turns big kids into little ones, long before you board the train.
I want my daughter to experience the same thing that I've always wanted to experience.
Yeah, you may have a little conductor on your hands.
I think so.
Although she doesn't know it right now.
No.
On top of Bear Mountain, it's a selfie paradise, the Dixiana, the perfect photo bomber. Kids love it, like the Malones from Carmel.
We take a fair amount of stops at junctions, but for a 108-year-old steam train, she moves pretty well.
She moves pretty well. Would you rather be at the beach today or riding the train through the redwoods?
Riding the train.
Ah, that's what I thought.
Something about old steam locomotives. No computers involved.
It's not an easy job. The Dixiana burns through over 700 gallons of water, and each of its half-dozen trips up the mountain every day. Donald Sage is both the waterman and the fireman in the engine cab.
Dirty and greasy, but it's very rewarding. Yeah, it's nothing quite like it.
So we all believe in the project. We all believe in what we're doing. Although the work is hard, heavy, dirty, and not always easy.
I was going to say, do you have a good detergent at home?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Believe it or not, I do clean up well.
A warning before you go. There's something about that train's horn that is a little contagious, and you might be hearing it long after you get home. Yeah, why not? Woot, woot! You're going to hear it probably for a good week or two after you get home. But what a great place to take the kids, adults as well. By the way, they also have a beach train. It, too, is a steam engine. So if you want to go to the boardwalk, say you're coming from the East Bay, you can park in their parking lot, buy a ticket, board the beach train, and in about 45 minutes after you tour the Redwoods, you end up at the boardwalk. Spend a day at the beach, jump back on the train. 40 minutes later, you're back at your car and on your way home. So I highly recommend it. By the way, coming up, we're going to tell you why we're in Los Gatos, but this is a beautiful, beautiful area. It is the Peacock Christmas Tree Farm. We're going to talk to their owners, good friends of mine, the Hoffners, when we come back. So we'll send it back to you.
Phenomenal, Frank. I like that one line in your piece there where he says, like I tell people, they all have a soul.
Yeah.
Very special, very special place. All right, Frank, we'll see you in just a bit. Hey, coming up, 49ers, Chiefs, tomorrow night, Levi Stadium. That's right, I get excited about preseason football. Preseason football. But first, as we are talking about the Niners, we're going to take you to a very special place, the 49ers Museum. Think Bill Walsh. Think his desk. Think his projector. Think about the installation of the West Coast office. Think about the 5 Lombardis and much, much more. You're watching The Nine live from downtown San Jose.
Welcome back to The Nine on this Friday the 13th. It's a lucky one for us because you can hear the airplane going up overhead. The weather is perfect. The sun is shining. People are going to be here in Plaza de Cesar Chavez for a huge music festival this weekend. We'll get to music in a minute, but first we have to focus on sports. I will be honest. Mike and I, we grew up in different households, right? You grew up with the love of the 49ers. I didn't even know what the 49ers were until Joe Montana gave me a reason to go to my mom and say, can we buy like Doritos and Pepsi to watch this thing called the Super Bowl? So that is what I thank Joe Montana for. But of course, the 49ers go way deeper and way broader than Joe Montana.
Just think about the history. I mean, Kezar Stadium,
right.
You know, in San Francisco. I was lucky enough to play football there. My brother played there. My dad played there, walking through that tunnel. So, you know, that's just part of the Niners history. And then Candlestick, seeing my first 49er game at Candlestick, and now here in the South Bay at Levi Stadium where I can take my children and experience it. The Niners organization has been around for decades here. Let's check in with Sal Castaneda one more time because you had that special opportunity, and it's open to everyone, but to go into that 49ers museum, Sal.
This week has been great, Mike and Garcia. Not only have I had a chance to go to the 49ers Museum, I'm inside the San Jose Tech Interactive Museum, and there's an astronaut exhibit right behind me. So these are all the things I grew up with, the 49ers, astronauts, and by the way, there's a really cool exhibit here. San Jose's own Stephen L. Smith, who was an astronaut, he became an astronaut, but in this museum you see some of the drawings he did when he was a youngster of rockets and spaceships. He eventually did end up becoming an astronaut. I think that's really cool. But yes, we have to switch gears right back to the San Francisco 49ers. And as Mike and Garcia were talking about, if you're a 49ers fan, I strongly suggest that you go to Santa Clara and check out the San Francisco 49ers Museum. The signs are up heralding the reopening of the 49ers Museum for the first time since it closed for the pandemic. I had the chance to explore this museum at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara with 2 49ers legends, Dennis Brown and Steve Bono. Fans will remember Steve Bono as backup quarterback to Joe Montana and Steve Young. When both Montana and Young got hurt in 1991, Bono went 5-1 as the starter and endeared himself to the faithful. Bono still has fond memories of that era.
It was a special place. I was here for 5 years, won a Super Bowl on each end of me being here, and went to the NFC Championship game 4 times in the 5 years that I was here. So we had some pretty good teams.
Dennis Brown played defensive end for the Niners from 1990 to 1996. Brown was an imposing figure playing with a very good 49ers defense. I specifically remember Brown making the life of opposing quarterbacks miserable.
I was lucky. I came in with a very good defensive line, and I was able to learn a lot from these guys. And guys in here, Charles Haley, Ronnie Lott, these guys like this. And it just made it really easy for me to be an NFL defensive lineman. Here's a good friend of yours. You might know this guy.
It was an obvious point of pride for Bono and Brown to show me the team's heritage as represented by this breathtaking collection. Everywhere you look, there is 49ers history from all eras, from the beginning to the present. It's only fitting that here in the Silicon Valley, the museum takes advantage of the latest technology.
This is the all-time roster. So anybody you're looking for, you can come in here, you just type in their name, and that person comes up. Let's get Bone up here. Look at that young cat.
Oh, my God.
Steve, my hair was all black at that time, too, bro. In the museum, they have set up Coach Bill Walsh's office complete with the actual desk he used.
My favorite photo in this section is that photo there of Mike White, Bill, and Dick Vermeil. The photo below it is the same 3 guys when they were all together at Stanford in the 60s.
Oh, my goodness. Everything here actually belonged to Coach Walsh, including the film projector and the old-school 3-ring binder playbooks.
We used to have to carry around binders like that when we used to have camp in Rockland.
Around another corner is the room with all the memorabilia. Here you see classic jerseys, many of them signed. There are the famous gold jackets, helmets, and more. And remember the catch? It's perhaps the most well-known play in 49ers history when Joe Montana found Dwight Clark in the final minutes of the NFC Championship game in 1982. The ball from that legendary play lives here for all to see. Perhaps the most awe-inspiring thing I saw at the museum is when I walked into the room where they keep the 5 Super Bowl trophies. Oh my goodness.
So you talk about, the team and kind of what it means to the Bay Area, and I think it's about this, it's the championships, huh, Steve?
This is what it's all about right here.
You can also see the Super Bowl rings just like the ones the players received after winning it all.
And Mike and Gassia, just like Mike did, I grew up with the 49ers. My dad used to take me to games. For a while, we sat in the junior 49er minor section that was sponsored by Berkeley Farms. Raise your hand if you remember that. And then we got season tickets, on the sunny side of Candlestick. And then after we had our season tickets for a little while, we got to sit on the shady side of Candlestick. Woo! Man, that was living, Mike and Gassia. But obviously, right? I love the 49ers, and you really should come if you're a 49ers fan. You should visit that museum.
Absolutely. I mean, look, you guys know a lot more about this than I do, but watching your story, Sal, I thought to myself, this would be a great place for sort of a newbie to the 49ers culture because,
I agree.
like I said, you guys know all about it, but it's like you're jumping into the deep end, and just to see the desk, Bill Walsh's desk set up, this red binder
and the
there.
projector.
Great
My goodness
work.
gracious.
Great work,
Sal, thank you. And I love the Lombardis.
Yeah.
Each and every one of them. Yeah. All 5. Should be 7, but all 5.
Oh, God.
All right, let's talk
on.
music, huh? So as you said,
this.
we're in downtown San Jose. Big weekend here because it is the San Jose Jazz Summerfest. And joining us right now to talk more about it is the executive director, Brendan Rawson. Brendan, thanks for being with us. And I'll dive into this first, but I'm curious because you grew up here in the South Bay, and you have this love of music. What's it like to be doing what you're doing now?
Oh, that's amazing, right? The amazing perk of this work, the amount of programming that we do for San Jose Jazz, the variety, it's given me an opportunity to learn all kinds of different music, that I get exposed to.
Yeah.
So things like we're doing a Latin tropical stay during the festival this weekend on South First Street. So that's a whole realm of music. We partnered this year with a Fountain Blues Festival. They weren't able to do their festival this year, so we kind of folded them in. So we have a whole other blues stage. So I get exposure to all this great music. It's a blast.
I mean, I'm looking at your roster. I'm like, okay, Pete Escovedo, check, right? I'm kind of marking my favorites. And then when I asked you who's the biggest draw, you threw out someone who I think the younger set might like in particular.
Sure, yeah. Common is our Saturday night headliner,
Yeah.
and that's certainly gotten a lot of buzz.
Sure.
And really fortunate to have him this year. I know he was playing the president's birthday party last weekend, President Obama's birthday party. So great having him come out here and be with us for this weekend.
Since we're in the pandemic, it's been a year and a half and rough. How special is this going to be for you, for the people attending over the 3 days?
Boy, it's been really wonderful.
Because to me, music is a special thing, and it's something that drives me personally. And I love music. It's always on in my car.
Folks are needing it. Definitely feels from the feedback that we've been getting. People calling in, either buying tickets or finding out about where to stay in a hotel. These sorts of things. They've been like, "Thank you so much for bringing back the festival." It's been a family tradition of ours to bring our kids, or cross generational type of experience. So it's been making us all feel good about putting the work into making it happen. That how much folks are looking forward to it.
What do you want people to know who are just hearing about it and going, "Oh wait, maybe we should go to that"? Because we're in COVID. So what do people need to know?
Sure. So we're going for 3 days. We start today at 5 o'clock. We're going through Sunday evening. So you can come on down for any individual day or for all 3 days. With the COVID rules that we've put into place, obviously here in Santa Clara County, I have to wear a mask at any indoor venues. We have 3 different indoor venues. We've also implemented on it of having that folks need to show proof of vaccine verification to go to those indoor venues.
Got it.
And then the outdoor settings, people are able to stretch out a bit more, but we do, we strongly encourage folks in a crowded setting to wear masks.
What's your instrument? What do you play? What's your number
man,
one? What's your number one? What are you going to get on stage with tonight?
I wish I did. I wish I did. If I could, I think it'd be a piano. I'd love it.
Yeah, I love the piano too.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, Brandon, thanks so much for look. Best of luck to you over these next few days.
Yeah.
Live
Very
music.
appreciated.
What could be better?
It's
Awesome,
back.
awesome.
Excellent. Thanks, Brandon.
Thank you,
let's
guys.
highlight another gorgeous part of the South Bay. I mean, serenity, tranquility. These are things that we could use a lot more of these days, and there's a place for you to get it when you come down here to the South Bay. Hakone Gardens offers 15 acres of gorgeous landscaping and a lot of Japanese history. We're going to highlight Hakone Gardens when we come back as we shine a light on the gorgeous South Bay on this morning's Zip Trip. Stay with us here on the 9.
All right, welcome back to the 9 live from downtown San Jose, where during this hour we are focusing on the South Bay, and there is a special place in Saratoga. Think tea gardens, think koi ponds, think waterfalls. Think this started out as a personal retreat, and Gassia, it has turned into something very, very special for all to enjoy.
I mean, it's immensely popular, but it's also sort of a hidden gem. Our Claudine Wong went to Hakone Gardens. It's a story of love, it's a story of beauty, it's a story of culture, and Claudine Wong is going to show us all about it.
Tucked in the Santa Cruz Mountains is a 15-acre Japanese garden. On a busy weekend, Hakone, which is a public park here in the city of Saratoga, will see several hundred visitors. But in many ways, this place is still one of the Bay Area's hidden gems. A visit to Hakone winds you through a garden built more than 100 years ago.
This is probably the most popular area here with the pond because the fish, the koi.
Unlike other Japanese gardens, Hakone was not built as an exhibition. Instead, it was much more personal. Back in 1915, Oliver and Isabel Stein fell in love with Japan and its culture at the Panama Pacific Exposition. And so they built Hakone on 15 acres in Saratoga and named it after Japan's famous Hakone National Park.
They built it as their personal retreat. They lived in San Francisco, and Mr. Stein was a developer, and Mrs. Stein was actually into the arts and cultures. And so they wanted to have someplace to go and relax on the weekends and holidays.
The gardens have since had several owners, including Charles Tilden and his family. But in 1966, the city of Saratoga bought the property and opened it to the public.
The mission of Hakone, the foundation, is to use Hakone Gardens to promote Japanese culture, Asian culture and arts, music, entertainment.
Still, even now, as you stroll through, you can in many ways see this garden through Mrs. Stein's eyes.
This is the upper house. This was actually built in 1917. It was designed by a Japanese architect. The building's over 100 years old now, and we haven't had to do too much work.
More than a century later, the view is breathtaking.
For Mrs. Stein, she wanted to see the beauty from the veranda of the upper house. And so that's where you actually see the beauty of the garden, so that you can look down and see all the features of the garden.
And a favorite spot, the koi pond.
The smaller ones are less than a year old because those are this year's babies.
The fish here know people often buy food for them from the visitor center.
Yeah, lots of vintage. Yeah,
they know.
And that's the problem with with the wildlife is that raccoons. We have raccoons, bobcats, coyotes, and so they come down.
It would be easy to just stay here.
The atmosphere, it's unforgettable.
I think that people who build it put a lot of thought in it, in every step and every place.
But there are so many spots to explore, so many spots you could miss.
That was one of the benefits of the pandemic. We had a one-way path set up, so it forced people to see everything.
The one-way path is gone now, but here's an insider's tip. Follow the arrows. They'll take you to the Wisteria Arbor.
The wisteria will bloom in April, late April.
And the bamboo gardens. And while this was built as a personal retreat, the Cultural Exchange Center is also a reminder of lessons to be learned.
We do try to take social responsibility, and our current exhibit in the Cultural Exchange Center is it's on Executive Order 9066, which is the internment of the Japanese citizens.
That internment is personal. It forced Hakone gardener James Sasaki to leave the gardens temporarily.
He and his family were interned in Topaz, Utah, and so for the 4 years that he was interned, he was welcomed back by the Tilden family after the war. But we have two other board of trustees one who was actually interned in camp as a young child, and another whose mother was interned during the war.
More than a century later, there are stories to be told in the beauty that endures.
I think it's good to spend whole day here until sunset.
A space that in these difficult times continues to give people something that is timeless, peace and tranquility.
Wow, to think the Steins had this vision back in 1915, and here we are, 106 years later. I'm sure they're smiling because that Japanese garden, it is a beautiful place, no matter what corner you're strolling in.
And it's like Claudine said, we have such a greater appreciation for being outdoors, just the beauty, the clean air. It's an incredible place. If you haven't been, you should definitely go. I'm getting hungry, right? And we're in the perfect place for it. Whether you like chicken and waffles or croissant French toast, the South Bay has you covered. Coming up, Sal, that lucky duck, got to taste his way across the South Bay. We're going to feature some great spots to grab a bite and a sip. Don't forget the sip. Coming up in our Taste of the Town as we roll out the great big sunshine all over Santa Clara County in our zip trip featuring the gorgeous South Bay this morning.
All right, welcome back to the 9. Our summer zip trip series continues. We are highlighting the South Bays. We give you a live picture there at the Peacock Christmas Tree Farm in Los Gatos. I mean, I guess it's never too early. I mean, maybe it's a little early. It's a beautiful place, Gassia, when you're just looking at this live picture. But Frank Malicote is down there, and we're going to check in with him in a little bit. But I mean, it's August. Why not?
Right.
That's a beautiful spot.
I can't get enough nature these days. I mean, it could be like February, and I'd say, let's go to the Christmas tree farm and check things out. I mentioned a minute ago that I'm hungry, and now we have to turn to Sal Castaneda. Sal, you got, once again, the plum assignment of getting to essentially test your way across the South Bay. You found some gems, one that I think you said people travel all around the world. You know, they come from all around the world to check this place out.
Gassia, you've been doing your homework. I'm very impressed with your knowledge of Santa Clara. And we're in San Jose right now. I just want to give people an idea where we are because we're inside the San Jose Tech Interactive Museum. I'm in the interchangeable, what do they call it again? The Sustainable Cities. All right? So check this out. I'm standing in front of Palo Alto. If I want to give Palo Alto more residential buildings, look, as Tony will show, the buildings go up and they go down. So there's more residential buildings. However, this whole grid is affected by what I do in Palo Alto. So if I take residential away, the other cities get more. You see how it works? Because this actually shows kids that this region is definitely going to be connected and more things do, and we have people helping us with the exhibit. But one city gets more residential, the other city gets less. All right, so enough about that. Let's get to the part where I get to try food. I went to Santa Clara and I found a couple of gems, and one restaurant in particular is one that people travel from all over the area to visit. Calling this restaurant a breakfast place may be underselling it a bit. At Bloom in Santa Clara, people drive here from all over the Bay Area because word has spread about how good it is.
I built this place to get locals to come, but it's even more special when people leave their city to come here and try our food.
When reading reviews and talking to people, two dishes consistently came up: chicken and waffles and the croissant French toast. You drove all the way from Fremont?
Yeah, because I saw it in Yelp. And I saw the chicken and waffles, and it's a good rating. So my daughter wants it. So she told me, "Oh, Mom, let's try this."
I love chicken, and I also love waffles, and I thought it would be like a good combination.
Then there's the croissant French toast. Here at Bloom, the combination works beautifully. During a busy brunch service, we saw plate after plate coming out looking elegant and tempting, sort of like an upgrade to the typical bacon and eggs. When I spoke with owner Reza Mannion, he told me he grew up going to different types of restaurants, always trying to find his favorite dishes. He says he always knew he wanted to bring them all together at an eatery that was his own.
Instead of going to one restaurant because you like one thing and maybe another for another, you know, basically what we're trying to do is compose all different types of plates from all over and bring it all to one place. And keeping the quality up and the presentation beautiful. We take a lot of pride in what we do.
I personally ordered the chilaquiles. deep-fried organic tortilla chips tossed in fresh chili verde tomatillo sauce with 2 eggs sunny side up. It was crunchy, rich, and delicious. Across town, we stopped at a relatively new spot near Levi's Stadium.
We started in San Francisco, but when the 49ers moved down to Santa Clara, we kind of came along, and it's been fantastic. So we've got our second location down here in Santa Clara.
It's Bare Bottle Brewing, a place where you can stop in for a cold beer, coffee, or a bite before or after a 49ers game. Some just come and watch the game here. It gets crowded on game days, but we came on a non-game day during the lull just before lunch. Co-founder Michael Seitz poured me a sample of some of the beers.
This won the gold medal in 2019 for the best Mexican Helles lager in the world.
I also got to sample a good Pilsner, stout, a sour, and a few house-made non-alcoholic drinks. If you like craft beer, you'll like the vast selection of quality beers. I liked them all, but if I had to pick a favorite, it was the Ultralux Hazy Double IPA.
It's super juicy, very thick, like very full mouthfeel, and you get like the best expression of hops out of it.
And just to show that Bare Bottle doesn't take itself too seriously, it offers a few outside-the-box drinks, like this beer slushy, something I had never tried.
It doesn't sound like you should be able to make a beer slushy and have it taste good, but it tastes good. Well, Mike and Gassia, Tony, my photographer, and I have just officially announced to the world that we are hungry. And here in the South Bay, there are plenty of good places to eat. Obviously, I wasn't able to catch all of them. There's so much to eat down here. Those are just 2 of the spots that I really liked. And one of them being so close to the Niners game, whenever I do go to that Niners game, Mike, I'm going to check in there.
Yeah, I think I'll do the same. I think I'll start with that croissant French toast. And then just follow it up with that hazy double IPA. Just go back to back.
Got the beer slushy?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe on game day. All right, Sal, thank you.
I'll do
love
the
it.
chicken and waffles. All right, speaking of delicious food, let's talk about winning some cash to spend on delicious food. We are so happy to announce our next winner of our Fox 2 Foodie Contest. A big congratulations goes to Tanisha from Santa Clara. She is our big winner in our Fox 2 Foodie Contest. Tanisha from Santa Clara, you have just won $250 plus a cool Fox swag bag. A quick reminder here, Fox Primetime is all new next week, so if you're a foodie, be sure to watch an all-new episode of Hell's Kitchen Monday night and Fantasy Island Tuesday at 9 o'clock right here on KTVU Fox 2.
All right, when we think of South Bay, we think of technology, we think of development. Not only the big companies of Apples, the Googles, but smaller companies as well. Where do we stand right now? Well, let's bring in Sunnyvale City Councilman Mason Fong. Mason, thanks for joining us this morning.
Yeah, thanks for
on
having
this
me.
Friday morning. So, the argument is we're getting too big. What would you say to those who think that development in the South Bay, it's just too big?
I would say we really have to look at how cities are funded. You actually need economic development to fund services. Yeah, it really comes to community involvement. We need the community to be able to tell the city officials, the developers, what they want to see when development occurs and how they want to see growth policies that allow for economic development and also prosperity in terms of community feeling.
Give me a little peek into the future, especially coming out of this pandemic, hopefully sooner than later, when it comes to housing and development. I know there's talk of something around Moffett Field, Google, is doing their own thing, but give us a glimpse.
Yeah, so we're still recovering. The economy is still recovering in terms of we lost about 150,000 jobs in the South Bay from February 2020 to April 2020 of last year. And so we're almost recovered. A lot of the jobs, as you imagine, are in travel and hospitality, and that industry went from 450,000 jobs and is now around 350,000. So we still have a ways to go. But we're recovering. We see that there's a San Jose Jazz Festival behind you, and so we're really hopeful that a lot of the development happening can actually keep going. And actually, construction was one of the industries that prospered during the pandemic. It actually is still above 100% recovery.
Wow. So if we could meet you back here in 10 years, looking into the future, what do you hope to see in Silicon Valley and in Santa Clara County?
I hope to see, we keep that acquaintance that you talk about with the older generations, but also younger generations like mine can actually afford a home here. And so really it comes down to supply of housing. We need to get the supply up in order to address the demand.
You know what, Mason? We were talking during a commercial break. You may not know at home, but you were the youngest city councilman elected until recently.
Yes.
Tell us what happened here in Sunnyvale.
Yeah, so we've had since recent federal and national politics, there's been a desire for change. And so when I was knocking on doors, a lot of people, I just tell them, hey, that 27-year-old that's registered in your house, where does that person live? And it was usually in the Midwest or in their garage. And so it was really talking about that feeling of, does grandma have to travel all the way to Ohio to visit their grandkids, or do you want them to stay here?
Yeah, I love it. Well, I appreciate the time.
Absolutely.
Have a great weekend.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, meet you back here in 10 years, right? All right, so we've been shining a light on all sorts of wonderful things in the South Bay. You may think you know it all. Maybe, like Mason, you grew up here in the South Bay, but guess what? There are things you thought you knew, but you didn't, and then things that you know you didn't know. So we're going to put your South Bay knowledge to the test. Another fun round of Zip Trip Trivia featuring the South Bay coming up in just a minute here on The 9.
All right, welcome back to The 9 from downtown San Jose, our final Zip Trip of the season, where we are focusing on the South Bay. And a lot of times during these Zip Trips, we like to challenge people to really ask them, how well do you know the city you live in? We call it Zip Trip Trivia. Our own Frank Malicote is great at it, and he's got a good one for us teed up when it comes to the South Bay. Frank?
All right, Mike, one thing I discovered, we did this in Campbell last week, and I discovered the South Bayers need to do a little more homework. At any rate, we put them on the hot seat for both geography and history, and here's how they did. Can you name the 8 cities that surround the city of San Jose?
Campbell, Saratoga, Los Gatos, Sunnyvale,
Palo Alto.
No, not Palo Alto. That's a little
okay,
too far.
that's too far.
All 8.
That's the deal.
That's the point.
We've got Saratoga, Los Gatos,
San Jose, Campbell, Saratoga, Milpitas, Gilroy, Cupertino, Sunnyvale.
I know you know one of them.
Well, it is Campbell.
Campbell's a good start.
Okay, City of San Jose. So we've got, is there...
Milpitas?
Yes, I live there too.
Oh my God! Here they are. They're Campbell, Cupertino, Los Gatos, Milpitas.
How do we forget that?
Morgan Hill, Santa Clara, Sunnyvale, Saratoga.
Okay.
You mentioned Morgan Hill. What is the city of Morgan Hill named after?
A hill named Morgan.
Yeah, well, that makes sense, right?
No, I'm just kidding.
No, that's right.
Oh, is it really?
No, it's not.
J.P. Morgan.
Oh, good guess. Incorrect.
No clue.
No clue?
Captain Morgan. That was
Captain Morgan.
Captain Morgan.
All right, we got some drinkers here. That's wrong, too.
Julia Morgan.
Julia Morgan.
No.
Woman in history, but incorrect.
Oh my gosh. Just somebody named Morgan.
That might be right.
Morgan Fairchild.
Morgan.
Might be a farmer somewhere with a big orchard and
named Morgan.
Yeah. You want to go with that?
Yeah.
Sure. You're wrong.
that was good though.
The founder is Hiram Morgan Hill.
Oh, I wouldn't have known that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. First video game ever developed in the early 70s was done by Atari. Can you name the game and the city it was founded?
I would have to say Sunnyvale and Pac-Man.
Oh, that's pretty good. You got Sunnyvale. Try another
Okay.
game. I say ping, you say?
Oh, the ping pong one.
Pong.
Pong.
And I want to say Cupertino.
Cupertino.
By Atari, I think.
Atari's correct. Cupertino wrong.
Is it Pong?
Pong. Pong is correct.
And was it in Sunnyvale?
You have won everything.
Yes!
Good job.
Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak founded Apple, and they did so apparently in a garage in this South Bay city.
Cupertino.
Cupertino, and you, sir?
I'll go with Cupertino.
And you both would be wrong. Give it a stab.
I'm going to say Palo Alto.
Palo Alto. No. That's Peninsula.
Cupertino or Sunnyvale, one of the other.
Cupertino. Incorrect.
No!
Santa Clara. No.
No.
Palo Alto. Mountain View. No.
Los Altos.
No. Yes! I had to look. That's right, even the host needs a cheat sheet every now and again. Let's talk about the Peacock Christmas Tree Farm. We're here in Los Gatos at Summit Road. I have the Hoffners. It's Lisa and Eric, good friends of mine from Cal, old fraternity brothers. And you guys bought this about 20 years ago kind of by default in terms of the tree farm.
Yeah, we were looking for a house. We'd spend a year in Africa, and we were coming back to a crazy real estate market back then, and the only place we could find came with this. So, not the only place, but the best place we could find.
But it was contingent. If you bought it, you had to keep running the tree farm, right?
Absolutely. And we were up for it, even though we knew nothing about how to run a tree farm.
And what has it brought to your lives? I mean, for 6 weeks after Thanksgiving.
Joy.
Oh, there we go. It's a lot of work, but a lot of fun, right?
It is a lot of fun, and we get to be part of the community, and we donate to the schools and causes like Chris Stevens Fund. And, it's just brought us a lot of interaction with people of the mountains and all around the Bay Area. It's been great.
And how much work is there to be done in the month of August?
Oh, well, every season there's a lot of work that needs to be done. So we're shaping trees, getting them ready for the fall and the winter, and to make the perfect Christmas tree.
And when do you open up? Thanksgiving time, right?
Day after Thanksgiving.
All right. They're open till Christmas Eve?
We're usually 3 to 4 weekends after Thanksgiving, depending on the weather and the trees left and
all right.
that kind of thing.
Well, it's $80 a tree. If you get a 3-footer or a 30-footer, you got to haul it out of here. But it's a good.
You get to haul it out.
You get to haul it. That's right. I'll step away. We'll just look at the view here. It's the Peacock Christmas Tree Farm. It is awesome. Come up and check it out. Guys, back to you.
I love it. A couple cow guys hanging out. By the way, my Buffaloes, Frank, are coming to Berkeley this year, October 23rd, so we'll have to hit that game together. Anyways, great tree farm. Love it.
I just learned something. Did you know that the South Bay, San Jose, is the boba capital of the world?
I did not know that.
Boba, bubble tea, right? It is all the thing. Like my little middle schoolers say, can we go get boba today? And 5 years ago, I didn't know what boba was, but there is a bar that features boba that you could bring your pup Sadie to.
Sadie and T?
Yeah, Sadie and T, our Claudine Wong.
Okay.
Checked it out, and she brought her pup, Leo. And here she is at Wolf's Bar.
So I found a place in the South Bay that not only does a special kind of boba, but it's also a place that loves dogs. So I asked my dog, Leo, to come help me check it out. Let's go. Good boy. Good boy, Leo.
Wolf's Bar is tucked in on the Alameda, right near the campus of Santa Clara University.
We saw it walking by on our walks, and my kids were like, oh, is that a place for dogs or is it a place for people?
Turns out, it's a place for both.
Okay, go.
All right, tell me where we're going.
All right, now I'm taking you to our upstairs loft sitting areas where the customer loves hanging out here.
Owner Joanne Liu says it's a business that was formed when 3 people came together. One loved milk tea, one loved boba, another wanted to open a bar. And yes, they really like animals too.
One of our partners, she came out of the idea because she and I, we both are dog lovers. She has 3 dogs, and back then I had 3 dogs too. And then we were like, also I want to spend more time with my pets because I used to be very busy. So I was like, okay, then why don't we open something like this?
Wolf's Bar opened up just months before the pandemic hit.
They were like, especially on our promotion day, the grand opening day, oh my God, there were like people lying outside, we were like packed inside the store. And so ever since then, the business started to pick up. So we will actually have the timeline, everything lined up that we're gonna have the liquor license and start doing the alcohol in March, April timeframe, to go along with the spring, summer theme. But pandemic happened, so yeah.
And then it changed everything.
It changed everything, yeah.
Coming back has been hard, but they believe they are mixing up the right ingredients to get people in these doors. First, there's the boba. If you've never tried it, that's okay. Boba is also known as bubble tea. It is an Asian tea-based drink that's been around for decades, but has recently become more popular.
I don't even know what it's called, but it's something with mint and tea.
Wolf's Bar has designed its menu to be a little less traditional, to sort of ease you into a love of boba.
We use fresh fruit. We don't use powder. And then we don't use those like, we only use like real sugar and real fruit. And then we also, so we make it like, made to order, so that's why it's fresh, and then they like the drinks. Our drink is more like a jamba juice and the classic boba tea combination.
So if Jamba and classic boba had a baby, it would be at Wolf's Bar.
Yeah.
That works, but if you like the classic stuff, can they still get that?
Yeah, they can still get that, yeah.
And then there's the dog-friendly aspect. Wolf's Bar takes pet-friendly to the next level. The owners say dogs can hang out and get comfortable.
I personally rescue animals, like pets. So I also want to promote the message, that adopt, don't shop type of message, and help more animals get adopted.
Adoption events are in a post-pandemic future, but Lou says they did get a little glimpse pre-pandemic of how much dogs and their owners liked being welcomed in.
Back then, on the weekends here, it's like a dog park here.
And there's one more thing. Did we mention how Instagrammable this place was designed to be? Influencers have already found it.
When we opened the back one and upstairs before, they would stay here at least a couple hours just to take photos.
We did not stay for hours, but Leo and I did get a chance to snap a few photos we think are Instagrammable. From the awkward swing, clearly meant for smaller dogs, to angel wings and long talks in high-back chairs. I think my favorite is actually the one where he kicked me out of the picture, and it was just Leo and the boba.
Spaces are a big part of the experience, right? You're not just offering drinks, but you're offering a place.
Right. To be honest, right now, I'm feeling positive. And then looking forward to the future.
And the future does hold a lot of plans. DJs on Saturday nights, adoption events, and if all goes as planned, that liquor license that will allow for boba cocktails.
Okay, so during this pandemic, these fun photo spots have been off limits to the public. But good news, on August 15th, they are back open for you and your four-legged friend. Also ahead, they're working on a dog-friendly menu, as well as those boba cocktails that we can't wait to try. So it's been a lot of fun and lots ahead. High five, Leo. Awesome.
Nice job, Leo. Very nice. I don't know. Sadie's more of a park ball, give me a bone kind of girl.
Okay.
But she does like a nice couch and a pillow every now and then, so that could be a possibility. All right, we're not done yet.
No.
We're going to go back to Felton, population 4,000 up there in the Santa Cruz Mountains for a little, well, I guess you could say it, a family adventure.
Yeah,
if you're into zip lining. You're watching The 9 live from downtown San Jose. We're back after the break.
We've spent an hour featuring so many awesome things to do and see in Silicon Valley, and we can't squeeze them all in, but we have to say you need to check out this super cool destination right here in the South Bay, Mount Hermon Adventures in Felton. They provide zip lining through the redwoods. Can you believe it, Mike? It costs just under $100. You got to zip past branches of those ancient, gorgeous redwoods. Tour guides are on hand. I mean, look.
I'm shaking like a leaf already.
I
there,
would
man. That's
do
a little
it
nerve-wracking.
in a heartbeat.
You would do that?
100%.
Right there?
Are you kidding me? Nature,
I don't know,
adventure, right here at home in the South.
Me of the special place that we live in here, whether it's in San Jose or in the South Bay, whether it's the East Bay, whether it's the North Bay or the Peninsula. We're blessed to have a great spot here. So we started the show at that Tech Interactive, and we'll end it there as we give you another live look inside a family fun science center where you can do some experimental labs, you can do some design challenges, you can do it all right here in downtown San Jose. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great weekend.